by political parties without approval. Now, a statement that was signed by the Commissioner for Information and Communications, Chris Finebone, said the order also prohibited the posting of bills or posters or any other material in unauthorized places. So, quoting the governor here, the Executive Order 22 also prescribes that any political party or association or body of persons, however called or described, that wishes to use any premises, building or structure situated in a residential area in any urban area of Rivers State as campaign office must obtain permission from the Rivers State Commissioner for Urban and Physical Planning. All right, this one came into effect Friday, 11th of November. All right, so to have this conversation with me, I have Dr. Chukwuma, A.J. Chinwo, and of course, he's a legal practitioner.
Thank you, Constance.
I hear that you have a specialty in constitutional law.
Yes.
All right. That's beautiful. All right. You can join the conversation. Get on Facebook, get on Twitter, get on Instagram. Let's hear from you. Now, I'm asking a basic question for everybody. And the question is, what is your major concern with these orders? Executive Order 21 and 22. What is your major concern with these orders? All right. So, Dr. Chukwuma, could you help us understand the implications of these executive orders?
Thank you very much. It's been said that often the worst enemies of democracy are the beneficiaries of democracy. And that's what we seem to be suffering in Nigeria's democracy. Those who swore to protect it, those who gained positions and power by it, seem to be determined to destroy democracy. And the democracy is nothing without the fundamental rights of the people. And those rights are exalted beyond any exercise of power which is not consistent with the law. One of the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution that is very critical is the right of citizens to freely associate and assemble. And that power, because of this importance, the Constitution even made it clear that one of the specific aspects of it is the right to form political parties, to campaign and to canvass for votes. And that every Nigerian political party is registered, recognized by INEC, has the right to have access, full access to the people to be able to canvass. So whatever order, whatever law that anybody will make in Nigeria must be consistent with these provisions of the Constitution, because if it's not consistent with it, the Constitution provides that such law will be null and void. But unfortunately, we have had situations where political office holders have determined to be above the law, to despise the law. You should disdain the law. And that's the reason why you see some of the things that we see. The Order 21 and 22 that the governor of Rivers State made, incidentally, are directly in breach of the Constitution. It's as if the governor determined to attest his power and show his power to breach the Constitution, and I think that is wrong. And particularly for us, this is a lawyer, and who we thought Nigerians suspected that should be an how do I put it down? An icon in obeying law. You expected that when lawyers are in government, they should be the paragon of obedience to law in the decisions they take, in the orders they make. And when they fail to do that, disappointment is heavy. Not only for them, but for the whole nation and for the Constitution itself. So This order that the governor made is saying, like the first one in Order 21, before you use a public facility for a campaign, that you should not only take permission by writing to the commissioner for 2 weeks, and then you should pay 5 million naira. Now, if this 5 million naira were paid as cautionary deposits, like the governor was talking about, when you go and eat rice and pure water and all that. The normal thing is that if you're even putting such deposit, you make deposit. If you didn't drink the pure water, if you didn't scatter anything, you collect your money and go back. And that's a public institution, public place. Public order must be maintained. If it's maintained, a person should not be punished in anticipation And the worst of it is Order 22. That is directly in conflict with the right of citizens to own and use private property in Nigeria, Section 43. So I think the governor, he set out, because I know him, he knows the law very well. He set out to go contrary to that law. That's what happened in these orders that have been made by the governor.
But by what the governor did, especially with the second one, the Order 22, right? Of course, you have established that it's against the Constitution, which allows a person the right to use his property.
Own and use the property.
Own and use the property.
Yes.
But here, the governor is this more like trying to regulate what happens within this period of campaign? We have heard also where people gather in the name of campaign and things go bad, and sometimes in the name of it's a political party or political party members gathering, and then you find out that they are not even political party members. They could be cultists or some other evil is happening there, and other people get affected.
Now, that is why we have the Public Order Act.
Okay.
That Public Order Act has vested in the Commissioner of Police the responsibility to maintain order. So, if a political party, for instance, wants to have a program, it goes to the Commissioner of Police. Say, look, we are having a program at Community Secondary School or Oruko. You know, I remember that school. That's where the governor had a lot of the PDP election that brought him to gave him tickets and all that. He had the public school. So we are going to, the commissioner grants you permission. The essence of that is that commissioner identify what's the capacity, when is it going to happen, or what kind of program are you having, and the commissioner will tell you this is the number of security men that you need, so that they will secure the place. It may be for condition or none. So it is not for the governor. That is the responsibility, and under a law that has been made, you have no power to make a subsidiary legislation that is contrary or that is duplicating the provision of an existing law. No governor has that power. No president has that power. And that's the pain about it now.
Let's even look at, because there's something almost similar happening in Anambra State.
Yes.
Looking at this one here, Anambra government charges 10 million naira for presidential campaign posters, flyers, and others.
Yes.
So in Anambra State, it's more like the governor also has something of that nature happening.
That is what I prefaced. Beneficiaries of democracy. Otherwise, how would Soludo be a governor? Beneficiaries of democracy are turning out to be the worst enemy of democracy. Not only him. Governor of Ebonyi State came here, visited the governor, collected a copy, went to Ebonyi State and reenacted it, made that order. Now, an executive order, let's even be properly established, is a subsidiary law, must be made pursuant to a particular law made by the House Assembly. Which law of the House Assembly has made the law? Who is the governor's action pursuant to? And if there's any such law, is it consistent with the Constitution? It's not. So that is why we're talking about it. And that's the pain, because you're doing this, making laws, what we call ad hominem laws, because you're targeting people. You're targeting your political opponents. It's consistent to the very essence of jurisprudence, particularly in a democracy. And I've been telling people, let us agree. If we want to run is a dictatorship, I won't bother. But he swore, every one of them swore that we are upholding the Constitution, which said Nigeria is a democracy. So when you do that, you are digging at the very foundation on which you stand, and the foundation of the society. And that's the pain. So it's Soludo, be it, let all the governors do it, it is illegality.
So where does INEC stand in all of this? Because INEC is the commission that is settled with the responsibility with managing elections and electioneering processes. So INEC has its guidelines and all that, and part of what it said in one of the lines, right? I can't remember right now. I'm just going to paraphrase somehow. Is that nobody, no political party or leader should stop others from campaigning. So can INEC override what this kind of order that has come from an executive?
No, INEC is not a law-making body. INEC is not a law enforcement body. INEC is only going to make statements like it's making. Don't do this. It is not right. Just like the citizen who says, I'm standing now, I don't have the power to go and overturn what the governor has done. If I go to organize a program at Origwe and he organizes talks to go and stop us, I will only observe that he has done wrong. But that is, you see, this problem of lawlessness leads to situations like this. Because people are taking for granted that, oh, after all, you don't have the power. INEC, what power do you have? But you who is doing it, you're abusing power. And that's my concern for Nigerian society. You are abusing power because you know that somebody else, for instance, a governor will do something knowing that before I file action in the judiciary, and the judiciary will decide maybe to be next year, and he will say, I've done this thing, go to court.
Speaking of going
that is
to
lawlessness of the highest order.
I was also going to come to that. So now that you've mentioned the court,
yes,
it's part of I think more like an advice, or, given to aggrieved parties.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're not happy with the order 21 or 22, go to court.
Yes.
Is this the best option right now for the parties?
No. It has become, unfortunately, in Nigeria, it become the option for lawlessness. Those who want to breach the law will do evil and say go to court. I mean, sometimes before you get to the court, they block the courts, not physically. I've had my governor, for instance, threaten judges. How can you be making order against Rivers State government? Don't you know the government is paying you? We built houses and gave you houses. Why are you saying that? So you're intimidating judges. Today was the legal year ceremony. The governor was there, and in his usual way, he talks down on judges. It's like he's talking to commissioners or permanent secretary of a ministry. So there is absolutely lack of respect for that institution. And so it takes, most judges, with all due respect to them, have been intimidated. And how many, of course, not many judges will dare to take a position that will seem to be in conflict or in contest with the governor. But apart from that, even the procedures of the law are such that the governor is sitting at the wrong time, in the sense that if I have to file a paper, I have a time for service, the judge himself has to fix it, there is time for it, within that time the harm has been done. So we must create a situation in this country where there is respect for law by the people who are involved in taking actions. Quite unfortunately, they are the people who are going around contrary to it, who swore to the Constitution, they are going contrary to it and daring you to go to court. If you go to court, go to the High Court, assuming, quite unfortunately, it's difficult now to assume that you can win. Assuming you win, the same person goes to Court of Appeal. The next night, it drags you to Supreme Court. By the time election is finished and the governor or whoever laughs. See, we are destroying the foundation of a society. All these people, they are running, every day they run to England, they run to Spain. Because these are societies where people have subjected themselves, leaders have subjected themselves to the law. So that's why you can be happy to go to Spain and have meeting. Go to London, because you have a state where a prime minister realizes that he has no better right than the ordinary citizen who is walking on the streets. But here, if the governor is passing, he chases all of us away, because the governor is passing, and they test me if he hits me on the road and I drop dead, he's going, and he said go to court. So we must build a culture, and it's for me, as a law teacher,
I don't think it's going to get to that.
No, it's happening now. Don't you know many Nigerians who have been killed through when convoys are passing?
I don't know.
No, that's the problem. You didn't read it in your news. It happens. Convoy is passing and hit somebody when they are very kind, which is rare. Vice President won't stop to see what happened. But already they are gone. If the vehicle is not behind, he's gone. And it's happening every day. People's houses are destroyed and they tell you go to court. A man whose houses you have destroyed, where will he have the money? Now he made this order 22. Nigerians are afraid. If governor could put down somebody's house at Eleme, he can put down my own at Rume Pericom. He can put down my own at Rumosi. So people are afraid. Why should a society be led by intimidating the citizens? And it's not only here, like you've seen, what's his name? Soludo have increased his own now to 10 million. All to constrict the political space.
It's called clarifications on... it's called billboard ownership and political campaign fees in Anambra State. That's the charge there. Anyway, we have commercials coming up, but when we return, I want you to help us understand the place of the Attorney General of the state, right? Yep. Because, in the case of Rivers State, the governor is a lawyer. Now, what if the governor is not a lawyer? What then should the Attorney General be doing? But even in the case where the governor is a lawyer and he's going contrary to maybe the Constitution, what is the place of the Attorney
Attorney
General?
General.
All right. So we're still discussing the legality of the executive orders. Chinwo, who is a legal practitioner. We go on a commercial break, and of course, the headlines at 5:30. Afterwards, we will continue our conversation. Remember, I'm asking you to tell me, what concerns do you have? What is your major concern with these orders? Do stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Every day, Nigerians are
21 and Order 22. And Dr. CAJ Chinwo is in the studio. So before we went on that break, I was asking what the place of the Attorney General of the state is in a situation like this. Is he not supposed to be advising the governor?
Yeah, that unfortunately that's the reason why Nigerians have been advocating separate the office of Attorney General from the Commissioner of Justice. The Attorney General in Nigeria have disappointed not only themselves, the office, the profession, the constitution, and which they are supposed to be the major protectors. Attorney General in Nigeria is not only out of Rivers State, all over the country, federal states, they have created room for lawlessness by their acquiescence, whether they are afraid. Maybe sometimes some of them are appointed, those who appoint them know that they will do that service, because every appointer wants to know the person is appointing. But I think that a person who is what is onion and is calling, occupying the office of Attorney General, has to be strong enough to tell the governor, please, not while I'm here can you breach the law so blatantly. But unfortunately, most Attorney General haven't done that. And that is a shame for the profession, a shame for Nigeria. And that's a disappointment to even the persons who appointed them, because, I tell people, Napoleon Bonaparte says something, that the greatest people who are his enemies are those who saw him when he was doing wrong and didn't tell him to stop. Those who always voted him, but when he left office, they began to say something else. Some attorneys general who have in this country have written things that if you cite it to them, what they wrote concerning lawlessness, they will be ashamed. So why did he get into office? And the man appointed you, whether he's a lawyer or not, to guide him, to tell him, to put a stop on him, because power is such that given to any man, the average man will still run with power to the extreme. Attorney General is the only person by law that is supposed to at least hold him. But they're not doing that.
So how come they're not doing that?
Well, because of Nigeria, the attitude is, they said if you are eating on the table manners. People have exalted money and temporary things above integrity and principle. That is one. Number two, they don't do that because of the fact that Nigerian citizens have not held them to account. Really, this question he asked now is good. Really, many people won't even ask, don't know that behind there's an officer appointed by law to protect the law. So if you don't ask that question, people think it's only governor. Attorney General is supposed to be that man, whether they like you or not, who can stay. Excellency, he can't go beyond here. Or I resign. Of course, Nigerians don't resign. Somebody acts as if my turn has come. Maybe the whole village, this reception. If you resign, they say you are resigning and this opportunity we had now. But we must get to the point in Nigeria where we should be able to say, no, thank you. Thus far, more.
Well, of course, this is where we have to draw the curtain on the conversation. But we will continue. You can also send me your comments. Keep them coming. After the news at 6, it will be time for open season. And then I'll get to take your thoughts. Well, a very big thank you to you, Dr. CAJ, and apologies for the shortened time.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, what Info is doing. At least you give Nigerians alternative voice.